All right, let's go ahead and jump right into it on why not to start with multifamily. And yes, you did hear that right. And most of these are going to be some unpopular ideas and opinions. So stay tuned until the very end, because most of these I'm sure you have not heard of. And the first point I want to make is you're getting into it for all of the wrong reasons, such as FOMO. So fear of missing out, following the crowd, trying to keep up with the Joneses, whether it's your wife's or girlfriend's boyfriend. And let's say you're on social media, which can really be a double-edged sword when it comes to this. And the only people that you do follow are multifamily investors, and you see them closing on deals and they're saying this is the best investment ever. You got to go ahead and get started now. It's going to be 90 days for you to be able to close on this. I can teach you how to, or whatever the case is. That one, the deal that they may be posting actually they overpaid for. It could be a bad deal overall. You don't know that. Also, is the time that it took for them to get to that. You simply see the highlights, but you don't see a lot of the sacrifices that were involved with that. A lot of the time, or they just may have partnered with someone on the deal and they may have a small portion of that, but they don't mention that in the highlights. So those are just some things to take into consideration. So I gotta do this outside part pretty quick because these mosquitoes out here in Texas do not play around. But just understanding that it is okay to start small, because this is the common path that most people actually do take, and the path that I ended up taking as well. And the first deal is I started with a single family, partnered with someone being my mentor, and that's how I was able to get my foot in the door with that. And I just wouldn't want anyone to run in a situation where they're trying to get that first multifamily property, which can be pretty daunting. I can tell you, I'm just thinking back when I was looking at multifamily at the earlier days, is I just preferred single family, and they just never get started at all because it's too daunting for them to overcome that obstacle, whether it's funds, whether it's limiting beliefs, whatever the case is. So starting small and then building momentum. And you simply may not need to, depending on your financial goals and structure, or whichever your financial freedom number is that you want to get to, because it could just be a couple single families if you're using your own cash. However, when you're bringing on additional investors and you're doing a syndication, you have a smaller piece of the pie. That's when multifamily makes more sense because of that. And I'll just give an example of one of the deals that I own, which is a 156 unit apartment complex, where the share that comes out each and every quarter is between about 10 to 12,000, where that is split with both my partner and I. So per year it's earning about $40,000, and that was a syndication where 85% went to the LPs, the limited partners, and then 15% went to us as the GPs. And out of that 15%, so that 10 to 12,000 that I mentioned a little bit earlier per quarter, is I get a smaller piece of that. So that's where it comes into doing a syndication and doing more deals in order to get additional income to reverse engineer to get to your financial freedom number. So hopefully that all made sense. I try to keep it as simple as possible when it came to that. And lastly is you lack patience, and just an understanding that things do take time and these deal cycles tend to be longer. And I know that we're in a microwave age where most believe, or majority believe, that things happen overnight, but I tell you now, I'll shoot it to you straight, that is not the case. And there was a newbie investor that was asking me how long did it take for me to get my first multifamily deal, and I had mentioned it was close to over a year. And I knew why they were asking that question, because they were trying to compare myself and them. But with that is just additional context, is I had about 6 to 7 years experience in the industry, and then also I was full-time working anywhere between 60 to 80 hours per week, and they were just doing this part-time. That's just what I mean. And when you have the lack of patience and just not having the correct expectations, is you'll tend to be more frustrated, or you can take some shortcuts in order to quickly get to where you want to go, and that could end up costing you your reputation, which, as I've learned, is reputation is everything in this industry. So I appreciate you all so much for staying on this long. And we're going to go ahead and switch things up, and I may get flagged for this on how to comment below. Let's just take it back to our younger days where you would try and bait your friends into this joke, and you would have your conversation with them, and you would just mention this random person with the name D, and you keep saying that, trying to bait them, and then at one point they ask D who. Comment below on what you would say next to them. So I appreciate you all. Go ahead and keep being awesome. Thank you so much. See you next time.